45.
Looks like Todd Duncan.
Sounds like, must be a duck.
Jersey girls are the best.
Yeah.
What?
The bunny ears are back. All right, everybody.
What?
You are hearing all this music. It's party at Laugh, Lend, and Eat. We are partying it up. Look at her. She is off and running. I knew it. See, I was thinking to myself, what music could I possibly play to introduce the one and the only Miss Raquel Torres.
I had an extra shot of espresso in my latte today just for you.
Yeah, see, this is cool. I love this. They gave me this new toy to play with here, Raquel. You know, I've come a long way on the podcast.
I was gonna say you're super fancy. Before I was like kissing puppets. Now we went from kissing puppets to like live music.
I like that. Who knew? It all sounds like one night, you know, of heavy drinking tequila. Where were you last night? Oh, I was at this party. There was a puppet. Last thing I saw was I was kissing the puppet, and I woke up in Ecuador. Guys, if you have not figured out, I have my dear friend Raquel Boris on here. She is a social media magnet, social media manager, social media icon, whatever you want to call her, social media related. She was the first person. I know. She was like the first person I think I ever met in the industry that actually said, "I'm social media X," whatever you want to call that afterwards, right?
Oh yeah.
You're like ambassador, like brand ambassador back in those days.
I was. I think at the time I was brand relations manager.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. BRM. I'm a BRM. You'd be like a VP of BRM.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I feel like, you know, you can be anything.
Nice. You're free, girl. You go roam.
I kind of do.
So we have Raquel Boris on here, and if you guys follow the podcast, which I know by the way, we've got quite a following now. We get text messages saying, please stop broadcasting, all sorts of stuff like that.
That's legit.
Yeah, that's legit. When you start getting hate mail, you know, I mean, you've cracked the code. But Raquel, you were on here, believe it or not, on like episode number 4 or number 3.
Really? I go that far back?
Yeah, when you were kissing puppets.
The things I did to get on podcast.
Yeah. So I mean, we've both come a long way, right? I mean, we're as far as the Laugh, Lend, and Eat this show goes, we're like I think episode something 80 something now.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
Yeah, so we have Laugh, Lend, and Eat Madness, which is with Madison, and she's like a new loan officer that gives tips.
Yeah, she's funny.
Yeah, she is. She puts up a lot of my crap for no reason.
No, I love it. You need someone that's not going to take it from you.
Yeah,
she's they're going to throw it back.
Oh, she does. Trust me. I get the phone calls at 2 a.m. And then we have Laugh, Lend, and Eat Live, which is always these live shows. By the way, cheap plug for January 9th. We'll be doing live with Barry Habib, forecasting 2024.
Ooh, you really have come far, Fabi.
Well, yeah. I mean, someone had to.
And I saw you had Todd Duncan too.
Yeah,
you're pulling in the stars, the celebs.
No, the cool thing is they want to participate. Yeah. I appreciate their support. Honestly, I do. But it's like, look, enough about me. But you are like what I'm about to say is really what you've done, and I've seen it. You don't know what the journey is, but you take the first step.
Yeah.
Right.
I have no clue the destination.
Right.
I really don't.
I mean, and I mean, a lot of people are afraid to do it, but whether it's fear or whatever, lack of fear. I mean, how do you take that first step, Rock? What goes on through that little head of yours?
You know what? I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was getting ready, and I was like, "What is it that like is?" I feel compelled to just like do something, jump off the deep end and go for it. Like with this Raq the Boat, I was like, how in the world did I end up here where I'm like trying to create this huge event? I have people flying in for it. I have all this stuff going on around it. I'm like, and so I was trying to like remember how it all kind of like came about, because I was like a little bit surprised with myself, like, wow, I just kind of took a huge leap of faith. But I've come to realize that I just do it. Like I'm kind of impulsive. Like I do
Mhm.
have an impulsive, compulsive, personality, and
Mhm.
I do have to tone it down sometimes, that impulsiveness. But there are some times where I'm like, I just do it, and then later realize, what the hell did I just do? I don't know. It's part of my personality. I
Let me
can't
ask you a question. Let me ask you a
explain it.
question. Do you see it in slow motion when it's actually happening?
No,
How do
no.
you see it?
Like, so when I want to do something, like, do I envision how it's going to happen? Is that
Like
what
when
you're
it's actually
saying?
falling together, like all of a sudden you get this idea, like, okay, everybody listening, November 4th, Raquel is going to be doing this event called Rock the Boat, live from San Diego, from what I understand, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you're going to be doing it on multiple platforms.
No, it's literally no. It's like it's a live in person
So
event. Like you're not
if
streaming
you're not
it.
in
Like
San
you want
Diego,
to be a
why
part of
would
it,
you
you
not?
got to be there.
Why would you not stream it?
Because I just didn't. Okay, see, that's where I also understand that, like, I don't want to complicate things if I don't need to complicate things. And for me, I want to have these events all over the country, so it's kind of
Hmm.
a way of people wanting to be a part of something, but they have to be there
Okay.
and present in order to do it. That's like the point of it. So that's why Delilah herself, Miss Taco
Taco
Tuesday,
Tuesday is
yeah,
flying in, huh?
she's actually flying in. She's going to share her story
Okay.
with these teens. You know what? I'm a visionary. So I'm one of those people that I have like the big picture. I know what like I want it to look like. I just really suck at implementing the process, the
Hmm.
procedure to getting there.
Yeah, but the world
That's
needs that. The
part,
world needs people like that.
huh?
The world needs people like
Crazy
you.
people like me
who-
that
Yeah, because look, I mean, the only difference between a crazy person and a visionary is execution.
true.
You know,
True. So
so
I'm an executor.
yeah, I mean, you execute the vision. There's nothing wrong with that. To me, that's beautiful. I mean, think about
Yeah.
this. I mean, whatever we do, I mean, we have to see it in our head first.
Yes, true. So I do see it in my head.
Hmm.
That's why like I'm really excited about Saturday, because I'm like just excited to like finally see it like
Yeah,
happen.
that's
Because it's
cool.
been so many months of me visualizing and me having this,
So let's
idea.
talk about Rock the Boat. I mean, look, obviously, unfortunately, we couldn't get our schedule in line. I wanted to get the show, I mean, out there before November 4th.
It's all good. It's all
I
good.
know it's going to go out after November 4th, so we'll be talking like backwards in time, you know what I mean? But maybe we can just memorialize this moment. And Raquel, what do you anticipate will happen on November
Right?
4th?
And then when it's like, well, like,
Then when you listen to the podcast, like, I should have never told Fab that. He jinxed me.
no, it's perfect because like I said, I want to have these events all over the place. So for
So,
me,
I mean,
it's
let's talk about Rock the Boat. What is this event? Like, if I don't know anything about you, you know what I mean? I hear the word Rock the Boat.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I know, obviously, you want to rock the boat. What is that actually? Is that like rock the vote?
It's like Rock the Boat, where I was a very perfect child and I never wanted to rock the boat. I felt like I had to be this perfect thing. So I never ruffled any feathers or any of that stuff. And now I'm in a place in my life at 48 where I want to rock the boat. And what better
Hmm.
way to do it than do something that like not many people are doing? And that is actually like trying to help our youth,
Okay. Okay. No. And
right?
but
So,
so how do you? I mean, like when you say help the youth, there's so much we can talk about there. But
yes.
what do you see that they need help in? Like the number one thing. I mean, obviously there's multiple things, but number one thing you want to focus on.
So for me, a lot has to do with my own story and just kind of the fact that as a child, even though I grew up very privileged and I grew up with two parents and loving parents, but I still didn't feel seen or heard or
Hmm.
validated or valued in many ways. And I know that sounds awful, but you can get everything that you want material wise. Everything, private school, got the new, car when I was 16, all of those things. But there's something to be said when you do not actually feel like your voice
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is generational, to be honest. A lot of our parents were kind of like, they parented very differently. And now we live in a world where our kids, at least my kids, are 22 and 19, they're Gen Zers. They grew up around social media. And a lot of it's our fault. We're the ones that created social media. We created all these monsters, right? And
Right.
now we're like, oh crap, we created all this stuff and all this problem. But I feel like as adults, we also have to be held accountable and responsible for this. And so that's why I'm like really adamant about bridging that generational gap and empowering our youth. And by doing that is like listening, hearing them, really like trying to have discussions, trying to figure out how we can help, because I do feel a lot of our youth just feel lost. They feel like nobody really cares. They feel like the world is over because they see all this negativity and they
Mhm.
see all this like doom and gloom. And once again, I feel like as adults, it's our responsibility to do something to help them in that way, where it's not like, okay, well, you know, you have all this stuff at your fingertips. I can't do anything to help you because you're so focused on your phones. And I felt like I needed to prove them wrong too, prove a lot of adults wrong with that.
Do you think that every generation has that same feeling? The minute you said what you said, right? I hear the Who in
Yeah.
my head with Baba O'Reilly and It's a Teenage Wasteland, right?
Yeah.
That's from like 1969 or 71, right? I
Yeah.
felt it in growing up in the late 70s, early
Yeah,
80s.
my mom even said that at her, she was born in the late 40s. She said that like during Woodstock, the 70s, they felt like they were going to change the world. They literally felt that generation was like, we are going to save the planet. We're going to change it. And then like kind of ironically, a lot of those are like the most conservative, most like the extreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the baby boomers, but I feel like every generation has that, but I also feel like as we move through like the future,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our generations do need to be better at coexisting and having that dialogue, because I feel that there's just becoming more and more of a disconnect.
Hmm.
So I feel like we have to do something, because let's be honest, nothing's really working up to now. Like
Yeah.
our kids are like, they were, I was seeing something how, they say our diet, we have the healthiest, food that is offered. We have all this stuff, organic, the this, the that, but yet like we're still the unhealthiest, people, like,
Yeah.
or we have all this mental health stuff, like, meditation, but yet still we're like the worst off mentally. So
Mhm.
there's something going on there. And I'm trying to address it with our youth, because I think we also are very reactionary, where we wait till becomes a huge problem in order to do something about it. And I'm like, well, why can't we like be more preventative?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I see it. Like if we can, hit our youth at
I have a weird
younger
I have a
age.
weird view of our youth recently.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're actually smarter than our generation.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
That
I
for sure.
and
And
not
so
smarter,
more
not
self-aware.
smarter like technical. I think they're more aware. I think they
Mhm.
express their feelings more. I think they're more practical.
Yeah.
They're more pragmatic.
Hmm.
I see so much things that they're doing, and I'm like, hold on, I didn't do that at 21. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't do that at 19. Hell, I didn't do it at 12. I know that for a fact. But
Yeah.
so they're doing stuff that I'm really impressed with, and
Yeah.
it's surprising. It is surprising.
No, and that's what I learned when didn't have my Rock the Boat YouTube channel. I have 70 conversations on there. That is one of the biggest lessons that I learned, was like, oh my gosh, these kids, like we're doing a disservice to them by like labeling them and having
Mhm.
this like narrative that they're lazy, and that that they're like entitled and they don't care, because a lot of these kids, it's the opposite. It's just, unfortunately, we as adults sometimes don't want to put the time and energy and work into wanting to understand them.
Yeah.
It is work. Like as a parent of a 22 and 19-year-old, I've had there's a lot of work that has been done on my end. I've had to change a lot of the way I react, the way I parent, all of those things. And it's not easy, but I'm so, like, I think it's worth it, because I have a great relationship with my kids.
What would you like? It's a good thing. I guess it is a good thing that we are recording this before, so we don't have enough time to put it out beforehand. But what would you like to see, like the outcome? Like what would be success? Like on November 4th, Saturday, right? It's
Yeah.
obviously your first event, right?
Yeah.
What would be successful? I mean, what would be a successful event for Raquel Boris with this Rock the Boat event?
So like right now, I don't really have that many kids signed up, and it is hard to, but I get it. It's like I'm a stranger to a lot of these kids, to these teens, but I was like, I'm trying to envision like a teenager, how they're going to walk away, and like how I want them to feel.
Mhm.
And I want them to walk away being like, wow, like people really care about how we feel. They really want to help us. They really want to help like guide me and mentor me. And they really want to see me succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And they really want me to, and they really heard me. Like if they had something to say, like, wow, I really felt heard and
Mm-hmm.
seen. And then in turn, that gave them like this sense of confidence and empowerment. And then they heard, like, I want them to hear the stories of like Delilah and Toby and the other speakers and be like, you know what? Wow, these people really overcame like all these struggles and failures, what you will. Like, okay, if they can do it, then I can do it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, then when something bad happens, like it's not because it's bad and it's like I did something wrong, it's because it's life and that's where you learn. And so yeah, and then I want them to feel like they're like a better person because they were there. Like I
Yeah.
really want them to feel like wow, like I feel like I'm a better human and I feel like I want to do better um because of this event.
That's
Like
cool.
that's
Yeah.
what I want for
Yeah.
these.
No, that's that. And look, I mean, I think it's a very admirable goal, and I think it's a very attainable goal. You know, I mean, that's a good, cool thing. I
Well,
think.
I mean, Fabi, I'm sure you've attended them, and I know so many do, and especially in our industry, you have all these like Gary V's and Tony Robbins and Ed Milet and all these, thought leaders and influencers, and they have all these events that they put on, right? And everybody goes and they're like, rah, 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 and this is great and inspired, and they walk, everybody's woo. I'm like, well, why aren't we doing that for our kids? For
Yeah.
our teens? Like, they're the ones that need it the most. I mean, granted, yes, we need it, but at the same time, like, let's be real. I'm 48. Like, at this point, I've lived basically half of my life already. Like, you know what I mean? I'm pretty set in my ways
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of know who I am. So for me, it's like, why not hit these kids when they really have no clue and
Yeah.
they're really impressionable?
Nice. I mean, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think look, anything you can do to pass on a legacy, create a legacy, share your knowledge with the younger, I mean, especially the younger people, right?
Yeah.
It's just a positive thing overall. Even listen, and by the way, this is something I've always said, and it's interesting. I heard Jim Rohn. Someone turned me on to Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn's been around forever. I
Yeah.
didn't even know this guy been around for like he was Tony Robbins' teacher, right? I
Yeah.
discovered him in 2023. I'm thinking I'm amazing, right? Like I just discovered Jim Rohn.
No, dude, my mentor is like that was his mentor.
Right?
Like,
Who knew? I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like I was happy enough with Tony Robbins and Og Mandino, but he said something, and I believed it before I heard him say it. But he said, you know what? Make $1 million, not to make the $1 million, but for all the things you're going to have to learn to get to making $1 million.
oh wow.
All the things you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn to negotiate. You're going to have to learn to save money. You're going to have to learn how to balance a budget. You're going to have to learn to wake up early. You got to learn all these different things that you
Yeah.
haven't learned before. You're going to learn them. And at the end, you'll make the $1 million. And that's why they say it's not the end, it's the journey.
Yeah.
And to see your journey, no matter what the end is, you're still going to do what Raquel was meant to do. And that's awesome.
Thank you.
I think
Yeah, it is pretty cool being able to like be on this journey. Like
Yeah.
I do appreciate that, and it's not lost on me that I'm like going through this really cool journey of learning about myself, about others. I mean, that's the thing too, is like doing what I do with social media. I've learned so much about human behavior and human psyche and all of those things too.
Mhm.
Like, social media, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, there's a lot that plays into it.
Let's pivot up for social media for a second.
Yeah.
That you are a specialist in social, right? You're a social media manager now for New American Funding in San Diego,
Yeah,
right?
San Diego. So San Diego, I manage all their stuff. Yeah.
We think we recorded you like asking someone to make a social media video or something. I want to let you. Is this you or not? Where'd it go? Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, I'm like, are you showing something?
No, you know how I do these things for you, right? So I believe like when you ask somebody to make a video, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Fab, will you make a video for your mortgage thing, right?
Yeah.
Is this you? They said this was you. I don't know. Is that accurate, Raquel? I mean, am I close?
I think so. I wish I recorded a podcast last week with Ashley for Empower Impact.
Uh-huh.
And I was like really adamant and very transparent about how like a lot of us, that's how we feel trying to get loan officers to do a
This
video.
one closer. I think this one might be even closer.
Is that good?
I mean, they gave me this new toy to play with, man. It's got so many things on here. I could literally do, like, seriously, I could just all day long. All day long, I could do that.
Oh my gosh, so that's so cool though. Yeah, that is kind of mean, and I don't mean any disrespect or trying to be mean or any of that, but it's like I get it. The loan officers, they didn't come into this industry to be social media influencers and marketers.
Right.
They figured that everybody else was going to do that for them, and suddenly they realize that they're responsible for that as well. I get it. It can be really overwhelming and intimidating, and my mom reminds me all the time, like, I need to have a little bit more empathy for people that don't feel as comfortable doing this and talking to the camera. When for me, it's like it's become second nature for me.
What is your strategy? I mean, let's say you get a guy like me, and I'm not, you know me, I don't do a lot of videos, right? I mean, I do videos for podcasts, that kind of stuff.
You're talking about you in your wilderness walks every morning. You always have like, something profound to say. Whatever,
true.
Bobby.
I'm sorry. I always think
don't downplay your social media influencer role.
Yeah, okay, fine. But I don't do like those TikTok crap, right? With the dancing.
I mean, I've done them before. I mean, it's not my thing, but
so okay. Well, let's say that I'm not as affable on social media, right?
Okay.
Is that a word, affable? That's a word, right?
I don't know.
I think it is. I'm gonna stick with it. How would you convince me? Like, I'm like, nah, I'm not comfortable with, what do they say? I'm not comfortable with my voice. I don't like the way I look, right? I love that one. I don't like the way I look.
Yeah.
So talk to the manufacturer, dude, not me.
Yeah.
I got nothing to do with that. I got a face made for podcasting. Think about that, okay? So what do you do? What's your strategy to get them over that hump?
So I will give an example of one loan officer that we have that like refuses to like just anywhere close to it. And I was actually really proud of her because she did send an email and be like, hey, this is the scenario that I just, had with a client of mine. I would love for you to like do a post about it. And I was really like, kind of like, hey, well, you're the loan officer. You should be the one sharing the story. If I share it, then it doesn't really it's not going to connect emotionally because once again, like I wasn't the one that actually experienced it, but she has this real, like, just like aversion to doing the social media. So I was like, all right, I got to figure out something kind of creative that still like promotes her. So what I did was there's like a filter on Instagram where it's like a green screen and you can have like someone's picture on there or anything. So I just went ahead and had her headshot. And I was like, this is our loan officer, and this is what she was able to do for our client. Like, if you whatever, reach out to her. So I still kind of made it a little bit creative and fun and have at least her face in it in some capacity. So it was kind of, but like it did well, and she shared it, and then her husband shared it, and people were sharing it, people were commenting. So I was like, all right, well, this is a good way at least to have like to get around something like that. But like, for instance, someone like Steven, who you had on your podcast, he doesn't feel too comfortable like doing it himself. He feels comfortable either kind of doing something and then doing the voiceover. Right. Or he's talking to the camera, but I'm like there with him and I'm recording him.
He's got an affinity for grocery stores.
Oh yeah, we had blast that day in the grocery store. I'd never been into a food for less, so it was an adventure for me. I was like, where are we?
That was such
like a field trip. We literally walked across the street. It was like,
what's so funny is I actually watched that video like 2-3 times. I was like, is there a hidden message that I'm missing here? What is he trying to tell me?
We were just, once again, like, let's do something like visually different while you're talking about, I forget what the subject matter was.
Recruiters. He was thinking all the recruiters.
Oh, that's right. He was thinking recruiters.
While he's smelling watermelons. It's like, what are you doing? What the hell's the connection? What am I missing?
A glass of wine and smelling some flowers. But that's what's so cool, Fabi, is that like you start developing someone's personal brand. And I feel like we've managed to develop that with him in the sense that like now he kind of has like his thing where it's kind of ridiculous, but it's like, Steven, like just like me, like I'm very on brand with a lot of things that I do. And I don't intentionally do that, but that's what happens. Your personality starts coming to life. And then that's what people start remembering you for and recognizing you for. And so it is hard to get these loan officers to kind of grasp that. But once they do and they see the engagement, and they see people actually reaching out and saying, hey, I saw your video and oh my gosh, this and that, then it's like adds kind of that fuel to that flame.
Kind of builds confidence.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it is difficult initially. Like, I mean,
I
had another loan officer where I was like, dude, let's just do this. And then he was like really thankful because he was like, oh, wow, because he never posts. And he said he had all these real estate agents reaching out to him. And I'm like, hello, that's the whole point, is like to say, hey, I'm here. I didn't go anywhere.
Is it just me, or is there similarities between these loan officers and the teenagers you want to help with Raq the Boat? What am I missing here, Raq?
That's why I'm so good with our youth and our loan officer.
What am I missing? Right?
My poor coworkers, if they hear this, they're going to be like, "What a biatch."
No, I mean, listen. I mean,
they know. I mean, well,
so happy that they got Raquel Boris working with them. I mean, on part of the team. I don't think they understand like the beauty of that. The significance. I mean, that's incredible.
Some don't, and it's okay. It's, a lot of them, they don't follow, so they have no clue what I do on social media. Right. So I don't think they also kind of see how it's helped me and how I've gotten to be where I am now because of it. So it's, one of those things where it's like some get it, some don't. I have our area manager. He loves it. He actually is like obsessed with costumes for Halloween. So I don't know if you've seen all those videos that I've been like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've been a chicken. I've been
where?
I was the Headless Horseman. He just bought the Mandalorian and a cyborg and a clown costume so that we can do videos.
Every year I tell myself I'm going to dress up for Halloween, and then I'm so busy that I forget about it.
Oh, I did yoga instead last night. I did glow yoga.
Where was I? I was watching I was watching Cocaine Cowboys 2 on Hulu.
What the hell is that? Is that a show?
Have you not seen Cocaine Cowboys, the original version?
I've never even heard of it.
Dude, it's like these two major cocaine dealers from the 70s and 80s, and they tell everything about everything. And it's been on HBO like forever, right?
No, I just learned a lot about you, Bobby.
And then there's this Cocaine Cowboys 2. And I'm like, hold on. No, there was a follow-up. Yes. That's how I roll. That's how I live vicariously through these cocaine dealers. So you mentioned a word that I really, we've talked about this word for years. I didn't want to let it go unsaid.
Oh.
You mentioned the word brand. You said I'm always on brand.
Yeah.
Right? By the way, all those questions that ChatGPT had for you, I've not even asked one of those.
Oh, I'm curious as to what ChatGPT would like to ask.
No, I swear to God, it's staring at me, and I keep looking at it like, yeah, forget about it. I'm going on a different way, ChatGPT. You mind?
Well, you're actually being a host?
I'm actually just following do what I normally do instinctually. So on brand, what does that mean to somebody that doesn't even know what the hell brand is? I mean, what do you mean?
I know. That's what happens is with the lingo. It just means I'm being me. I'm just being, typical me. Like, so for instance, like I did a post the other day where I'm like, it would be on brand. So for instance, I am part of a fantasy football league with a bunch of LinkedIn content creator, like podcasters and live streamers. And every Tuesday, they stream one of the matchups live, and I finally had mine, and we get to bring a guest on. And I brought on one of my best friend's sons, who's 17, and he has his own podcast for football, and he's in a fantasy football league. So I was like, that's so on brand, meaning that like if I'm talking about youth empowerment and I want to do that, like it would be on brand for me to have a 17-year-old as part of my guest. or I'll do something really funny and I'll be like, oh, I'm so on brand because my headline on LinkedIn is Queen of Goofiness and I like
Mhm.
to be silly. So
Mhm.
it's just me being me,
Got it.
essentially. Like, my brand is me.
The
So when I
reason I
say
bring this
on
up
brand,
is
it just
because
means like, hey, I'm just being me.
do you know Jay Duran, right? Jay Duran?
I know. You know what? I started following him on LinkedIn years ago. He was one of the first people that I started following, and I haven't seen any of his content or anything in the last
We've
few
been
plus
doing,
years.
believe it or not, we've recorded 3 podcast episodes in the last like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Oh wow. Okay, great. And here I'm like was trying to get on your podcast.
No, but listen.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing this deep dive, right? I got another one scheduled. I'll be on his podcast because I've done one
Okay.
on his, done 2 on mine. I'm going to do another one on his. So we're doing a deep dive because his podcast is Culture Matters. That's his whole thing.
Okay, yes, that I do know. Yeah.
And so I'm really learning about culture where I've been spending all this time learning about brand. Now I've been learning about culture and
Mm.
why that is like, you know what I mean? And so to me, I guess, is culture, does culture have to align with the brand? Is that a complicated question?
No, I feel like it does.
It does have to align, right? So
Yeah,
what
I
happens
feel like it
when the
definitely does.
culture of a company, well, let's just talk about companies, not people, right?
Right.
What happens when the culture of a company does not align with the brand of the company?
With the actual brand of the company.
Mm.
Yes, then that is difficult. Like, for instance, I will say with New American Funding, I'm very lucky that like they have a TikTok, they have Instagram, and they do like the funny skitty reels, and that's
Mhm.
what I do. So like it's nice to know that like we align that that's what they're doing. But I do agree if for instance NAF was just like super serious, wasn't doing anything, Patty, she's out there, she's very vocal. If they were doing something completely different than what I was like creating here,
Mhm.
like on a local level, then yeah, I think it would be a problem.
It would be a conflict, right? So there would be
Yeah.
like, so I think is it important for loan officers when they're creating videos to align that with the brand of the company, or should they create their own brand?
Well, I mean, obviously you want to create your own brand because, you can take it anywhere. But I do believe that there has to be like a level of respect and kind of like awareness of like who you're working for. So that's why when loan officers go to different companies, like I feel like it's really important to understand the culture. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I think more and more of them are doing that now. When I think before they were so quick to just take the bonus check or whatever,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and would be like, I don't care. And then they would get there and be like, what the hell did I just do? Because
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like now people are definitely taking
But
that
don't
more
you think
into
that there's
account.
some buzzwords, catchwords, whatever people use throw around, like we're a family, or are we're transparent.
Yeah. I
Those
mean,
words, I don't know why they annoy me because it's like whenever, okay, so FYI, if someone tells me they're like family, I'm like, my family has ripped me off a few $1,000s over the years.
they
I
can be
mean,
real a-holes.
yeah, I'm like, I got scars from my family members, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need any
Yeah.
scars from strangers,
Yeah.
right? So, do I want to work for a company that's the family?
I mean, I listen, like for me, just once again, I always just use my, experience and examples. I've worked for companies where I mean, even now, like I love my coworkers and we get along great, but yeah, I don't call them my family. Like there
Right.
definitely is a difference when it comes to that. But it really is important for me to know that I can be myself.
Hmm.
Like I need to work for a company that's culture allows me to be me 100%. And that
Right.
was one thing when I came to NAF. I felt like that I could do that. Like I don't
Mhm.
know why, but I was like, I feel like I can continue. I think what it was is that Fabi, I put myself out there in such a way that you know what you're getting if you're hiring me. Like you really do. Like it's not suddenly you're going to hire me or be like, "Whoa, I had no idea that this was going to happen," or like, "No, I think you pretty much see what you see is what you're going to get."
Uh-huh.
So, like for instance with NAF, I'm like, "Well, they see what I do." And so it was great because coming in, it's been 2 years for me and I'm still 100% me when I walk out that door. I'm the same person when I walk out the door. There's something to be said about being in a place, having that culture where you can be you. And I know people still have different opinions where you can't bring 100% of yourself to work. I do. And I'm here. Like everything.
Go back. I mean, and I've known you for several years, and I knew of you. I still have a memory, by the way. I don't know if you know this, of my first handshake with you. And yeah, it was in 2019 at the NAMBA in Atlanta, and you were
Oh, is that where we first met?
yeah, because I'd seen you on LinkedIn. I'd seen you doing
Yeah.
other stuff. You know what I mean? And you were sitting on the floor of the carpet with your back against the wall doing something. And I walked up. I said, "Hey,
That's so on brand.
I think you were going to get some kind of. You had done the education for NAMBA at that point. You were going to go on stage momentarily, get your certificate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
And
did
you're
like
like,
the
"Hey, let's
Namba
connect
Leaders
after I go to this, blah blah blah," and then you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
gone.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't see you again until then we had lunch at the Palm restaurant after a few months later.
Oh,
We
okay.
started talking about whatever.
Yeah.
But so what I'm getting at is go back to that year. We're talking
Yeah.
not that long ago, quite honestly, 4 or 5 years ago, right?
4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Even let's go back even 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So how do you tell that someone that's in your position right now in 2023 what you went through in 2018, 2019 when you were trying to figure out where do I fit in this mortgage industry?
Well, I mean, I started out in the mortgage industry in 2014, by the
Ooh,
way.
sorry.
No,
my bad.
it goes to show you that it wasn't until 2019 that I maybe had some kind of presence that you're like, I know who she is, right? So, like, it takes time. It just goes to show you. But I am so glad I did it, even though it took a long time. It's a lot of work. I'm super blessed because of it. And so that's what I tell these loan officers, like it's the long game. It's the long game. I know people keep saying that, but it truly is. And just like think of the opportunities and the people that you'll meet and the relationships that you'll build and all of those things by putting yourself out there. And it's not putting yourself out there in a way where like suddenly you're super exposed and everybody, I mean, I just had a conversation with you earlier before we got on here that there's things I have boundaries. There's things that people don't know because guess what? I don't put them on social media.
Yeah.
And I do that on purpose because I want to be able to have, my privacy too. And like I said,
Is it
boundaries.
possible to be private on social media? I mean, it seems like social media is like one of the. In fact, wasn't there a lawsuit or something that's going on right now where someone is suing somebody for blocking them because they said it's a violation of their free speech?
What?
Yeah, go check it out. It's Sears Business. Sears Business that's just going on right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
I don't know. I feel like you have a choice. Like, obviously, there's things, like depending on what your career is and what you do, but I feel like you have a choice as to what you choose to put out there.
And sometimes, with because I coach for Christine's 2020, right? And sometimes, sometimes she, a student comes to me and I think they see the podcast or my walk in the wilderness that you called it, walk in the wild with my hunting dog Sammy, who only goes after beef jerky treats.
And your dog's adorable, by the way.
And they want to be, like, how do I create a podcast? How do I do this? And I'm like back when I was a music teacher, right? Yeah. I'm like, I can't teach you Eddie Van Halen's guitar solo until you learn the scales.
Yeah.
You gotta learn
until that's the thing is like so many people are like, I want to get to your level. I'm like, well, it's not that I'm at a level. It's just that I have honed in on that skill.
Right.
And it took me just to get comfortable with this. And believe me, in the beginning, it was really hard for me to like not look awkward on camera or to just kind of find my voice, all of those things. Like it definitely.
And you haven't posted any kind of meltdown videos in a while.
A meltdown video? What do you mean?
Remember when the pandemic hit and you had your meltdown at 2 a.m?
Dude, that was awesome.
I remember all that. And we were going to have lunch that day. You see, all those rounds were having lunch, you and I, right?
Yeah, you and I we were like the last lunch.
Right.
The last summer before the pandemic. It was
They're all looking at us like, what are they doing here?
We were like, maybe we shouldn't be out having lunch in public because there's like nobody around. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, and then that night I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
So no meltdown videos.
No, I have them. I mean, last week I broke down a little bit. I've had some crying videos.
Have you? Maybe I'm not paying
attention.
Yeah,
I've been tearing up in my videos because I felt really strongly about our youth and just and then when I talk about it, a lot of times it does really kind of like affect me emotionally, and then I do get a little teary-eyed.
Oh, that's good. I mean, that means you're passionate about something, and it's
absolutely, yeah.
So,
but yes, that's so funny.
All right, Rock.
I forgot about that video.
I did. I was trying to find it and replay it for you, but I
Oh
said
my
no.
God. Yeah. I mean, I've posted so many videos on LinkedIn that to find that on LinkedIn, I literally would like spend days like scrolling back trying to find it because I post pretty much every day. So
Yeah. It was an interesting time back in those years, you know what I mean? But we survived.
yeah.
That's the bottom
But
line.
yeah, but that's like I have a friend who talks a lot about the unseen hours. And that's what happens is that most people don't see the unseen hours,
Oh
right? Like
yeah.
they see
Yeah.
what you post, and so they have this like it's like very glamified, if you will, and that's just not how it works. And it's hard, but it is also hard for people to put those unseen hours and put the unglamorous because they might not look so cute or, all those things. And so I do try to kind of walk the walk in that respect. So, I'll do stories where I just came straight out of yoga and I'm all sweaty and, no makeup, no filter, and I have like something to share. I'll share it because
Mhm.
those are those unseen hours where, things
That's
happen.
what I thought my walk in the wild was.
Well, yeah, that's
Like I'm not shaving. I got some guy one time literally said to me, I could see the gum in your mouth. I was like, why would you be staring at my mouth that much? But okay, whatever.
or
You
even
know,
even point it out. Like, why even
right.
point it
But,
out?
but,
Like,
I mean, these
ew.
are things I get. People feel that they can share this with me, right? So it's okay,
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah,
it's like,
but some people would be like, "Oh, I have unshaven. I'm in the wilderness. Like, I don't like the lighting's not good, so I'm not going to post it." Right? Like, so
yeah,
that's what happens. Is a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that, but there's plenty of people that do, and those are the people that I love. Like, for instance, I love that Mel Robbins, when her stuff is never curated. It's literally her just being like, "Hey, this is." I mean, she's been in her kitchen and it looked like there's shit everywhere because she was
yeah.
moving, or there was one where she literally like rolled out of bed and you could see her like in her PJs and her bedroom floor was like, had all this crap on there.
Let me ask you a question that may not be appropriate, but I'm going to ask it.
Oh,
We're down last final seconds. A
okay.
guy is in bed, rolls out his bed. Could he make the same video that you just described Mel Robbins making?
Yes, I think actually he could do it, and it would be more appropriate than a female to do it.
You sure?
I think so.
Sometimes I think females can get away with making a video in their bed, rolling out of their bed, and be like whatever, and a guy couldn't do it. I don't know if it's just me in my head.
I don't know. It might be you in your head sometimes, but there is the double standard, and there is kind of like, how is it that
Maybe I should
one
make a
person
video
can
while
get
I'm
away with this
while I'm
and another
shaving.
person can't, so there is a lot of that for sure.
I'm gonna do it while I'm shaving.
You should do a video while you're shaving.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be like, I'm shaving myself. I don't.
Yeah.
I
And
only
then when
shave.
you get like a nick with some blood or something, I don't know, that could be
I'll
really
purposely cut myself just for
great
you,
for
Rock.
like entertainment value.
Just for you, Rock. I'm gonna cut
On
myself.
purpose.
Yeah. Rock, I love you.
There's like blood dripping. Like, yeah, it could be like super dramatic. Maybe it'll go viral.
I got this Jay Duran music here. Hang on, let me see if I can play it. So I'm shaving myself. I'm like, I have to be careful. I found a nick the other day. It didn't heal up as quickly as I thought it would. I have to shave around it. I have to walk around.
It's like a little circle. Oh my god.
They should have never given me a sound effect board.
No, this is
I don't know whose idea this was. I don't know whose idea this was. I appreciate it. I could do this all day long with sound effects. All day long I could do this.
No, but how cool is that? But see, that's another thing too, Fabi, is that for people that are trying to create a podcast, like it took you years to get to like what you're doing now. It takes time, and
I'm going to share something with you. I'm going to share something with you that I have not said yet.
Oh.
This past season has been the hardest season. Season 4 has been the most difficult season. I have wanted to quit the podcast multiple times. Multiple times.
Why?
Just pack it up. I was tired.
Oh, it is a lot of
Just
work.
tired. Just literally tired somewhere. And I didn't know what, just kept doing it, kept booking. But I have not wanted to do a podcast. Like when the season started in January, I was dreading it.
Really?
Up until maybe even till September.
So this podcast that we're recording, you're like, ugh.
No, since September, like especially last week with Madison.
Okay.
That was like I felt like I got my groove back.
Your mojo came back?
Yeah. And like I was like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And
it is difficult. Like for instance, when I was doing Women That Shred, having to find a guest every single week live.
That's tough.
It becomes work, right? And
Yeah.
like for me, I also had to think about that because it isn't my brand.
Yeah.
You know, it's Josh's
But-
brand. You know, he does
I
shred.
also think it's been difficult because the market is so volatile. We did an episode early on
Mhm.
of 3 people who had just gotten laid off from a company. You know what I mean? And it was like these were 3 were pretty decent friends of mine.
Yeah.
And I think that had an impact on me. And then seeing the market, the volatility, the exit of loan officers and realtors,
Yeah.
and you're a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it weighs on you.
Wow, you have empathy, Bobby? Wow, you're an empathetic human being. Congratulations.
Just found out. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Empathy Award goes to Raquel Boris.
Dude, I could do this all day long with you.
Well,
Content.
we are absolutely out of time, though. We have run over a few minutes here, and I didn't want to do that to you personally. I'm so sorry.
I always warn people that don't know me. I talk a lot. Tell me to shut up, and then we're done.
No, dude. I always love spending time with you. I swear to God, I wish I had more time to talk to you all on and off this camera. By the way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you are back, I mean, I know you're not gonna be back in time for whatever, but I'll be back in December, and hopefully
I'll be out there for Christmas. Most
every now and then I see pictures of you hanging around Northern Virginia. I'm like, she didn't call me.
Well, the last time I was there was.
And then I feel sad.
I love how entertained you are right now. He's a simple man, folks. He's a simple man.
That was so perfect timing, right? Come on, give me some timing there. All right, guys, this is the exit music, Rock. So do your little salsa move as we get out of here. This has been an amazing episode, guys. We shared so much information. We've shared so much information. Rock, if people want to get a hold of you, they still reach out to you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm good with messages in LinkedIn.
Right?
Instagram. You can see me.
You want dancing lessons, yoga lessons? Raquel Boris is available, but you got to travel to her in San Diego. I want to wish you amazing luck on this thing you got happening Saturday night. Raq the Boat. Maybe next year, or you get closer, I'll come out and I'll share my story. The immigrant story that came to America with $0 in his pocket.
Oh no, I'm going out there. I'm going to do one out in Northern Virginia since
we'll
that's
do it up.
Home.
I'll put the band back together again for you.
Yes. Oh my God, that'd be awesome. Yes, you could be the entertainment.
There you go. You know me, I got all my sound effects. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
45.
Looks like Tom Duncan.
Sounds like. Must be a duck.
Jersey girls are the best.
Yeah.
What?
The bunny ears are back.